All right, part three. Been a long time coming, I'm sure, if you're enduring the other videos. But we're finally at part three, the most amazing and critical part of perception rehabilitation, which is transformation. All right, transformation is our goal. The transformation of the self is why we started this journey. It's why you have bothered to watch the last two sections. It's why you have come to this third part of transformation. So once we have become aware of how our body, our mind, and our spirit are responding to daily life, and we used to identify the triggers and the underlying beliefs, it's time to finally start the transformative process. So here we are. So up to this point, it's been mostly observing, learning about ourselves. This stuff doesn't change. Okay, we want to continue this process. The rest of our lives. There's no reason not to. Get to know yourself. It's okay. You're not that bad. All right. So get to know yourself. Spend some time with yourself. It's okay. You will come to find what most people around you find. You're pretty cool. Okay. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you will be on your transformative, journey or whatever. Okay. So it's time to begin to act upon the things that we have been discovering about ourselves and, ourselves a course for transformation from all of those survival responses into safety responses, all right, by practicing with safe perceptions. So the first step in transformation is purpose, all right? The first step is purpose. So we want to be purposeful on purpose. All right, so what does Noah Webster's dictionary have to say about it? All right, the word purpose has two distinct parts of speech. There's a noun and there's a verb. The statement being purposeful on purpose encompasses both of those. Webster also declares that the definition of a purpose is that which a person sets before himself as an object to be reached or accomplished, intention or design. Okay? That is a purpose. And it continues with the definition of what a verb is. The verb form of purpose means to intend, to design, or to resolve. All right? To have this intention or goal is only part of the plan. So we must be intentional about our intention. So Dr. Marilyn Schlitt says it this way. She says one of the first steps to any conscious transformative process is personal choice, the will to change, emotional volition and desire, motivation, or put more simply, intention. Intention is the determination to act in a certain way. Dr. Schlitt is super, super amazing. She, I think, at least used to be the president of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, and has done some amazing, amazing research and has some great stuff on transformation and spirituality if you want to check her stuff out. But she goes on to say that holding the intention to change will help with recognizing the opportunities to change that arise within our daily life, right? So a lot of people intend to make changes, but if that intention to change is held intentionally instead of arbitrarily or casually, then the transformation is often accelerated, then in the process is made more enjoyable. So if you're just like, well, I know I need to make a change, I'm going to make a change, or it's like, I'll just do it. You need to be purposeful with your purpose. What's the goal? Well, let's get there. Okay, let's be intentional with our intentions. So, because we enjoy the things that we desire. So that's the primary key to the transformative process with perception rehabilitation, is that we want to do what we desire to do And if we don't desire it, let's figure out how to desire it. Because if we don't desire it, then we're not going to like it, and it's not going to change us positively. All right. Again, it's going to activate the survival response, and we don't want that. We want the safety response. Okay. So it's the reason why we're going to be establishing multiple pathways. We're going to identify that we have the old initial existing pathway that already exists in our mind. We already believe this is something that we've been going down totally subconsciously, for however long we've had it, our whole life, or for, however since whenever. Okay. And then we have these new distinct pathways that are safety pathways, that are desired pathways, new pathways that we've created. Right? They're entirely our own making, and they're set intentionally, and we desire to go in that direction. Okay. If you don't desire to go in that direction, then don't do it. That's pretty simple. No worries in that. If you don't desire it, don't make that your new path. Okay. It's entirely of your own making. Change is more likely to occur and become lasting if it's something that's simple and enjoyable. Right? That's not really rocket surgery. It's common sense, and most of the stuff is really just common sense. If you don't like it, don't do it. I'm talking about tasking. Sometimes we have to do taskings we don't like to do because it's like our job or because it's our obligation, whatever. So we either have a choice. You can either begrudgingly do it, or you can just start liking it. Okay. If you have to do it, just have fun doing it. Okay. If you don't have fun doing it, start have fun doing it. It really is kind of that simple. All right. It's far easier to accomplish new things that are pleasing to the self and reinforce safety with the self than it is to constantly be battling the self in order to transform the old ways. Okay. Remember, we're not challenging our old ways. We're just observing them, and we're creating new pathways. All right. New directions, new beliefs, new perceptions, so that we can get where we want to be, which is safe. Okay. So practicing new pathways. It's recommended to start small. Okay. Become motivated by multiple successes. And then after a few successful paths and some pretty critical beliefs start to set in, then we will begin believing that this is possible. Okay. So a little change, a little transformation leads to the motivation for more change, more transformation. And then we begin to be self-empowered by our transformative process, which leads us basically to a journey of just loving transformation. And that's pretty cool. Okay. We want to take all our pieces and put them together in here. Okay. The mindset of transformation, the mindset of observing the self and being aware of all those things is what we want to take the time to do. All right. This is a time when we're going to take all the pieces: self-awareness, self-identification, planning, begin to walk on the paths that we've created. The overall goal is to make them our destination and our pathway to be safe within ourself. Okay. So the process of planning an alternate safe path instead of combating the survival path is for the purpose of reducing or eliminating the protective survival response to change itself. Because that, for most of us, is our biggest survival stimulus. Change. We're not changing, we're transforming. Okay? We're setting ourselves on a path that we want to be on from the beginning, and we're going to enjoy being there. Right? The process of planning, our alternate phase, we're going to go down where we want to be, not where we should be or have to be. Right? Taking a different route that we love and that we feel safe on is far more desirable than challenging or attacking any part of ourselves. Believing in the new trail of beliefs is similar to the concept of our neural pathways. Okay, when we do something all the time, like a ball, the brain sends a signal to the arm through the nervous system. And so the more that this action is done, the more efficient it becomes, and the better at throwing a ball you become. All right. Like the repetition of walking on the same path over and over and over again. It becomes worn out and wider just by making the journey more often, and therefore it becomes more efficient. You think about a deer trail, think about something of that nature. The first time I walked through the woods, wasn't very efficient, smashing into stuff and breaking through branches. But after the whole herd went through, there was a small trail, and the last one was far more efficient. And every time after that they went through there, it became more and more efficient. Right? The first time we started walking, it was not pretty. All right, most of our parents still have videos, pictures of it, whatever. Wasn't pretty. I don't even think about it. Okay, we just walk. Okay, some people probably think about it a little more than others. I've seen you walk, but I was bumping into stuff and tripping over things. The whole chewing gum and walking at the same time. Maybe you should practice a ball. First time you do it was wonky. Okay, and probably the same now. If you switch hands and try and throw with the other, you would feel just as horribly awkward as that poor toddler trying to walk, or as awkward as you did the first time you threw a ball. It would be pretty silly to watch and pretty silly to experience. But again, if you do it more often, it becomes more efficient. It becomes smoother. Those neurons are built between the brain and the fingers, and lays that trail and becomes much, much more efficient through those connections. All the connections are built, everything goes through and becomes wired the way it's supposed to be wired. That's the same way, okay? When we change the way that we do things, switching from throwing the right hand to throwing to the left hand, two things are taking place. The first thing that takes place in the process of establishing the new pathway with repetition. The second thing that takes place is the deterioration of the old pathway. It'll begin to fade away. All right. If you don't use it anymore, it starts to overgrow. It's just the way that nature works. So the old pathway is visited and the old survival response is activated, which will happen eventually and occasionally. It'll feel abnormal, which reinforces the desire to stay on the new path. All right. So over time, the old path, it'll just fade away and the new belief system will be firmly established. The new path might also become a significant positive event that secures the safe belief within the self. So, after careful examination and experimentation, it'll be determined that jogging was not actually a survival stimulus. It was actually some of the things that surrounded jogging and some of the individuals that were involved in the process. The decision was made to pursue a path that would enable jogging to be a safe stimulus to help achieve many of the healing goals that were desired. The new path that will be experimented is jogging in the evening with a dear friend that is encouraging and loving. Jogging will also have an additional purpose of helping others to heal by joining charitable races that benefit organizations that also elicit the safety response. And there may be many other details like running surface, road versus trail, or clothing choices. The list could go on indefinitely. But the point is to find a combination of things that enables the jogging to be truly safe. And that's how you're going to grow and receive the benefit from it, right? The results will be identified by the activation of and sustaining of the survival mode along the way. You're not going to have all of those stress, fight, or flight responses as soon as you get ready to go jogging. You're going to have a calming effect and an energy reserving effect so that you can use all of that energy and your muscles can build and grow and do all the things that they're supposed to do with exercise, not just get crazy sore and panicky and anxious and all of those other types of things. That's not the definition of safety. So the goal is to believe that the job or the boss, the running, the whatever is safe, and allow the beneficial healing experience and relationship that further enables the transformation into the new safe lifestyle. All right. With that scenario, the experimentation phase might need to be, some sort of conversation with the boss to just test the responses, and this will provide experiential feedback that reinforces the path. The process is the same as with the jogging, but in this illustration, it'll be identified that the boss is actually intending to be a threat, this requires choices. So either finding a job to complement the new life, or that you're building up, or establishing a safe path that no longer includes the behavior of the boss as a means for safety. All right. So this is not an easy path. It's super difficult. However, you know, it's quite often done. Right. People often say that their happiness is not dependent upon the behavior or attitudes of those around them. Um, so maybe that's one of your new truths, one of your new beliefs that you desire to have, and the new path, new safe path that will be practiced. All right. My safety does not depend on my circumstances. That is an outstanding belief to hold, and will conquer an awful lot of the things that we will struggle with, that could be survival stimulus to us. All right. So safety with the self is the ultimate goal. All right. So this model is a journey to that end, and it results of safety are healing, growth, as we learn to thrive in a survival-free environment that we have made our own selves. And as the transformation takes place, the areas are still needing transformation. They should stand out. And as the safe lifestyle is increasingly enjoyed, survival mode will be less and less comfortable and less desired. The benefits of safety can be seen both immediately and the long term. Again, it's quality and quantity, same as always with everything. Safety mode is known to have fast results, reversing survival symptoms. It's super, super amazing at how fast this relaxation response reverses. Um, even doing a couple of minutes of breathing activities can significantly relieve a number of symptoms and ailments that are caused by survival mode activation. All right. So this means that um, our response to the activation of our safety mode is immediate relief of survival mode symptoms. Okay. And that's what perception rehabilitation is all about. We want to stay in the safe mode. We want to be there and realize the benefits of it. Okay. And allow us, by changing our beliefs at some point, the lifelong sustainable safety mode activation. Okay. We want to be dominantly in that, maybe 80-20, maybe more than that, if we don't really have an awful lot of need to be fighting or fleeing or running about, save our lives. Stuff happens. Okay. But for the most part, we just need to enjoy our beautiful, safe lives, or make for ourselves a beautiful, safe life. Right. So as individuals begin to transform, there's going to begin to be a shift in the nature of community culture. And this is the ultimate goal. As our spiritual nature changes, it will affect the spiritual nature of those around us. That's how the spirit works. And as we begin to spread, we begin to transform the nature of our communities, the nature of our culture, the nature of our world. So those statistics of stress-related doctor visits will begin to decrease. Our culture will be less fear-based, because individuals are beginning to believe that despite the situations around them, they are safe. So long-term macro safety is continued with long-term lifestyle changes of individuals. This is the point where many of these other models and techniques that are used out there, can then be able to be used to their fullest. And the journey of safety transformation may lead to a desire to take up a martial art, a sport, a spiritual practice, whatever it is that begins to transform your lives, the things that you find that really bring true safety to you, you'll find that all of a sudden begin new habits and new, participations and new all kinds of things. Okay. The rehabilitation process may also reveal some sort of a desire to seek some other training, some additional training with us, or some additional training with other people. So maybe to finally get into therapy, but you know exactly what the results you want out of it now, or some other sort of insight. The healing of the self through rehabilitation of perception is a continuous process. It is a lifestyle. It is not a quick fix. Okay, it's not intended to be stress management. It is intended to be life transformation into someone who can be safe within themselves. And the body responds with all of the same safety, relaxation response, sympathetic, parasympathetic, nervous system activation. Okay. That is, in a very large nutshell, all of what all of this is about, has been about, and will continue to be about for forever. It's the lifestyle that I live and have lived for a number of years now. It's the reason why I am who I am today, which is not who I was a few years ago, all the way to my core beliefs. Um, and so I can attest to its efficacy. And if you want to try some of it, you can figure out if it works for you as well. That's perception rehabilitation.